are listening to Voice of the Fans Sportscast, brought to you by none other than the voices of the fans.
Oh, Canada.
For Tuesday, the 16th of September, I'm Randy Coure. This is Voice of the Fans Canada. We are live on YouTube once again. Thank you so much for joining us. Or if you have downloaded tonight's episode off of your favorite podcast catcher, please like and subscribe Voice of the Fans Canada. We are on most social media platforms at VOF Canada. On tonight's episode, we are getting closer and closer to determining who will make the playoffs in Major League Baseball. Is there any point in playing the NFL season? Of course, the Buffalo Bills are destined to make the Super Bowl. At least that's what the top prognosticators are suggesting. We will discuss that. Could Sidney Crosby be playing elsewhere? His agent a couple days ago did give an inkling that there may be a possibility that Crosby would find a new home. And we are going to have a special edition of Straight Facts, Bro Relax. The Roundtable, as always, has assembled. Coming back from a beautiful family vacation from the motherland of Cyprus, Tony Antoniou is here. Tony, how are you?
Randy, fantastic. Miss it dearly, but happy to see your beautiful mugs. How's it going?
Oh, hey, it's been too long, Tony, and we're definitely going to get into your vacay in a moment, but we definitely need to introduce a dear friend of the show. He is Yankee proud, he is USA proud, but he's been on this podcast so many times, I want to declare him an honorary Canadian. He is the host of Foursquare Sports, which could be found on 102.3 KIXP. He is also the co-host of the Talking Baseball Show with Sal Angeletti on 107.7 The Bronx in Lawrenceville, New Jersey. He is Matt Siriani. Matty, how are you, my man?
It feels great to be on the show again. The honorary Canadian badge. I will gladly take it.
No, I just want to thank you so much always for joining us. Buddy. Yeah, I always love your insight. But Tony, please do tell. You and your beautiful family went over for Cyprus. Now you go once a year, once every 2 years. Am I wrong in that?
Not precise. Well, not really. Well, 2 years ago, it was my first time in 23 years, actually.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So, yeah. You know, life gets in the way when you're starting a family and stuff. So, and it's expensive too. But
sure.
After going a couple of years ago, I've made it a pact to not wait that long again. So I want to try and get in every other year at least. I might go back next year. We'll see how it is. It's just a beautiful place, and there's just a lot of family there. And
yeah,
it's a different type of vacation, right? You're enjoying blood. You're spending a lot of time with these wonderful. I'm very lucky to have a nice, beautiful family as well. So, and my daughters got to meet them all for the first time in their lives too. So it was cool. Cousins their age that they got to get together with and spend some time. It was good. It's always emotional getting there. It's emotional leaving.
Sure.
I remember, when you were younger, we used to take these trips. I couldn't wait to get back on Canadian soil. Sadly, it's like part of me always wants to tell my parents, "What the fuck did you guys ever leave for?" That country's had their problems too, so I
Okay.
understand what they did, but it was great. It was fun. It was fun.
I know exactly what you're talking about with family from overseas. Like my parents being born in Sri Lanka, went there as many as 5, 6 times before my 21st birthday, and a number of cousins who are my age over there. And it's something about family. You could be halfway across the world and you have that connection, and uh, it feels like they're just in the next city. And I mean, this was obviously a time before social media, and of course, these days we're so much more connected. We could easily talk to our relatives from overseas, FaceTime being what it is. No, it must have been very special for your daughters to have that connection with their relatives. And
Yeah,
also, there's please, please.
no, it's a hell of an experience, and I advise that. I don't know about you, Matt. Do you have you're Italian, I assume, or
Correct.
yes? Do you have family back there? Do you have any connection back to Italy at all?
So that's a good question. So my ancestors came to America from Italy, and that's how the last name Siriani is popular. And it's actually pretty common in America, my last name. So
Well, just ask the coach of the Eagles, right?
No relation to the coach, I guess. Yeah,
oh my god.
I don't know. It's something it's an incredible experience always. I don't know why. I had no idea. Like, it's just I guess the older you get too, there's uncles and aunts. You don't know if you're gonna see them there in the spot when you get back there. So I recommend it to everybody to try and reattach with your roots, especially these days. It feels like it's that much more important.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah, I truth be told, the majority of my family is here in the Toronto area. My father having 7 siblings, 7 siblings. 5 of them are in the Greater Toronto area. 2 of them are in Sri Lanka. My mother doesn't have any siblings anymore in Sri Lanka. Her 2 brothers passed away, and her one brother is here. Another brother is in Melbourne, Australia. Australia is on the top of my list, and obviously to see my family, but Sydney and the Opera House. That is, ever since I was a little kid, that's where I need to be. I need to take a selfie in front of the Sydney Opera House just because of the architecture of it all. Like, Maddie, have you ever been to Italy? You're so like you said ancestors. Like, how many generations are we talking about in terms of your roots to Italy?
So my family goes back 7 generations. And for those of you who don't know, 7 generations is 140 years. So my family has been long standing. It's been around for a long time. And it's funny because I know this because I went to Ellis Island recently over the summer and I saw my ancestors' plaque on Ellis Island. So I know that's how long the family spans. Like I said, 7 generations. And I've never been to Italy, but I've been told 1,000 times, you need to go there. You need to go there. How do I put this? I am all about gondolas. I'm all about Italian food. Like, give me pasta and pizza for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I will eat it. Believe me, I will do that. But if I was talking, like, Italy's not at the very top of my list, but it's like in the top 3. Easily my number 1 place that I want to go to, believe it or not, is actually China, because China has a very interesting culture. They have the most authentic Chinese food. And I actually have, when I was in college, I had a roommate who actually was from China. And apparently people from China and Japan, when they come to the States, they think we're the Holy Grail. Meanwhile, here in America, we think China's the Holy Grail and everything. So it's kind of interesting having that perspective from another individual from another country, thinking that America is great. Meanwhile, here, it's the other way around.
Yeah. Something about the Japanese culture I'm really intrigued about as well. Just the technology, like how much more ahead are they?
Yeah.
I mean, I heard about the cell phone cameras like in the early 90s. They had it in circulation in Japan. It didn't come over here until like 10, 15 years later. But
Right.
I mean, Tony, sorry, please, Tony.
The massage business as well. I'm sure it's pretty good.
Yeah, massages. Yeah.
Oh, is that right? I gotta. Well, now I'm even more intrigued.
Never been, but I hear things.
Okay. Yeah, I'm sure there's a couple of videos that we could take a look on the internet. But I mean, Tony, before we get going into sports, you mentioned that potentially going to Cyprus more frequently is a possibility, but there's got to be another location that you're thinking about vacation wise, if you're able to go.
Funny enough, I want to visit Greece a lot. I haven't been able to visit Greece, so that's up there as well. Another country.
You've never been to Greece?
To Greece, no, just Cyprus.
You never been to Greece?
No, I have not been.
Yeah, no, sure.
That's definitely going to be. That's definitely a place on the list. Where else would I like to be? I think I'd like to visit the Netherlands. It's funny. I always relate places I want to visit to sports. Like, I've always been a fan of the Dutch national soccer team, and I don't want to visit Netherlands because of Amsterdam and the red light district or anything like that. I just want to see the Netherlands. But yeah, I don't really. Australia used to be a big bucket list thing for me too, but I'm not the greatest flyer anymore, so I don't know if I could handle, that long of a haul anymore. But if I had the opportunity, I think I'm getting so I think, this trip had like an 11.5-hour flight from Cairo to Toronto, so I think I could endure it. I think I'm getting better. I'm certainly getting better. If you're not a good flyer, like watch simulators on YouTube and stuff on pretend you're the pilot and take a lot of short trips. I've been going to Cuba a lot over the last 7-8 years, and I think it's helped me overcome more of the flight anxiety I used to have. So just tips there if you're not into flying, whoever's listening.
My tip is drink a lot of whiskey and a couple Gravol. You're good to go.
I was on Egypt Air. They don't serve alcohol on Egypt Air because of the Muslim religion and how they operate. So I was shit out of luck there.
Okay. Yeah. Nice. Well, Tony, glad you had a great time reconnecting with family. That was great for you. So back to the reality and with the sports world, and holy smokes, Tony, what is going on with our Toronto Blue Jays? I mean, they are 5 games clear of the Yankees for tops in the AL East. Magic number to clinch a playoff spot is 4. Magic number is 7 to for a first round bye in the American League wildcard division. Actually, Tony, we are going to talk about the Jays in a second, but Maddie, it was great to chat with you and Sal Angeletti when we did chat. I think it was towards the end of August, and
something like that.
Yeah, and the Yankees they were on a bit of a heater, and then had lost a few games like over the past 5 or 6, but I mean they were 11-7 in their last 18 games, and in a high level sense, like what has stood out? I mean, from my perspective, if I may, it seems that the Yankees are getting a little snake bit with some fielding errors, some costly ones too.
Well, yeah, they have a little issue with shortstop because Anthony Volpe has not been effective over the entire season. Let's just put it that way. So they brought in Jose Caballero from the Rays to platoon with Volpe, and actually Caballero's been getting a little bit more starting time at shortstop over the last dozen games, and it's benefited because less fielding errors, better at bats, Because if you look at Anthony Volpe and his batting average, he's batting like 206 or something like that, like something terrible. And it's also the fielding errors, but it's also the fact that his confidence is just depleted, Volpe. Now, as far as like what's actually been going right, definitely Aaron Judge bat has woken up a little bit. And then Cody Bellinger has been awesome all season long. I mean, well, he started off slow, but he's actually picked up, and now he's great. I also like the way that Trent Grisham is being clutch from time to time. And then, you have guys like Jazz Chisholm Jr., who no one thought would be this good, is almost at 30 home runs this year. It's all looking really good. And I think if you're going to go into the playoffs, I said this before on a chat. Right now, the Yankees sit at the 4 seed. And I'm going to say this right now. Next time I come on your show, I got to wear all Blue Jays stuff because it's looking pretty apparent that we made a bet, Randy. So
yeah, okay, we made a bet, but I mean, like, you didn't lose the bet yet. You're jinxing us.
Oh, okay. I'll pump the brakes there. But the Yankees are in position to make a wild card right now. I think the main thing is they got to play well down the stretch, and their final 12 games are easy. They got Minnesota, who they dominate. They got the Orioles 7 times. The Orioles are terrible. Well, definitely below expectations. And absolutely for sure, the White Sox, who are dreadful. So right now, the Yankees have a good shot to make the playoffs. They just got to not shoot themselves in the foot. That's mainly the main thing. And I think ultimately, if they end up playing Boston in the wild card, they're in trouble. Because Boston has owned the Yankees this season. They've owned the Yankees the last few seasons. Especially if they get Roman Anthony back, which is likely going to happen. And one thing that I said was I wouldn't be too mad if the Yankees slide to the 6th seed and play the 3 seed, because right now, if you look at the playoff standings, Seattle is in first place in the AL West and likely the 3rd seed. I'd rather face Seattle than I would face Boston, to be honest with you.
But what about playoff experience, Matty? Because I'm looking at I'm trying to get a hold of the Red Sox roster there, and from what I understand, from what I remember off the top of my head, they don't really seem to have. I mean, between Duran, Roman Anthony, Devers is not there. I mean, the 2018 team is a shell of its former self, obviously. Excuse me.
Yeah.
A lot of people weren't really expecting Boston to be so dominant either. Right. So, isn't it? I mean, between the Jays, I think it's a flip of any coin, especially when it comes to the playoffs. And hey, the Yankees did make the World Series last year.
They did. That's what I'm saying. Like, I think if you want the easiest path possible, play in Seattle, because Seattle to me is a one-trick pony. They hit home runs, specifically Cal Raleigh, but that's really it. They're not great with the small ball. They're not great with their defense. They have some hiccups in the outfield as well. I think that they're still a fairly young team, so I'd rather play Seattle. Now, as far as like what happens after that, like if we were a 6th seed and we come out of that wild card, we'd be playing either Detroit or Toronto, depending on how the seeding goes. If the playoffs started today, that's the key phrase. If the playoffs started today, now it's looking like Detroit's going to be the 2 seed. And honest to God, I don't know how that's going to go, because Detroit's really, really good. And they're young. They got good at bats. They have a swagger about them. And as much as I hate AJ Hinch for what he did with the Astro scandal, he's coached this team very well.
Yeah. There's no arguing there. Well, speaking of managers and if they have coached well or not, it seems that no matter what Aaron Boone does, he's always going to be on the chopping block. Again, made the World Series. Yankees were fans are basically they've been crying foul on this guy for a large part of the season. There's no chance that he comes back if the Yankees don't make the World Series again, let alone win, right?
Yeah. Listen, Aaron Boone is a shell of what Girardi was and a pipsqueak of what Joe Torre was.
But I mean, how can you compare that? I mean, Joe Torre, he had all these studs. I mean, who did he not have? Joe Torre.
Well, listen, the Yankees were the cream of the crop in the 90s and early 2000s.
Sure.
I will admit that. But at the same time, like, you don't develop Derek Jeter without a great manager. You don't develop Bernie Williams. You don't develop the core four of Mariano Rivera and Jorge Posada and Andy Pettit. You need proper coaching. And Joe Torre was the master of getting this core four together. Now,
You need a guy who can handle a bunch of egos too.
Mhm.
yeah.
Valid.
You've had a lot of coaches try and coach stacked teams that it didn't work out. So we got to give a little credit to Joe Torre for the job he did.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Perhaps.
You know, just a little.
Yeah.
Just a little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
But I guess you know, Tony, between managing the egos versus the talent that is clearly there. Sure, there is something about developing players. You just mentioned that,
Right.
but you know, if you have a bunch of Mercedes, how much difficult is it going to be to turn them into Ferraris, right? Like, I mean, I'm actually quite proud of myself because I don't know anything about cars anyway. But regardless, like, who does Aaron Boone have? I mean, of course, Aaron's Judge, 100%. Bellinger just got there. Paul Goldschmidt essentially just got there. Jazz Chisholm, you know, there's still a new car smell to that guy. They lost to Garrett Cole. So here's an impossible question for, I guess, both of you. I mean, is there any way that Joe Torre could have made any sort of difference to what Aaron Boone is doing now?
Well, the reason why Aaron Boone, and I might ask you to rephrase the question, but my big thing right now is that Aaron Boone is not managing the game a lot. He's managing the game poorly on most fronts. Now, if the Yankees didn't get a lot of breaks along the way over the last several years, then he'd be gone if George Steinbrenner were still alive. But obviously we have Hal now. But the Aaron Boone is just, he plays favorites a lot to players who don't do well. Like, how many times have we seen Devin Williams blow a save or pitch badly? How many times have we seen Anthony Volpe make an error? And those guys get second chance after second chance after second chance. And most of the time, they don't even deliver. And I think Aaron Boone is blinded by, oh my God, I love what this guy did previously. Let's see if he can get that spark back. When you got to realize, you got to go with a hot hand. And Aaron Boone doesn't really know that. I think you muted Randy.
I was hoping to go a whole show without needing to turn my mic on. But to your point, Maddie, I mean, a lot of people were calling for John Schneider's head because he was managing the game poorly. Tony and I, we saw him, Schneider, yank Barrios for Yusei Kikuchi, and it was so widely criticized. And is it possible that John Schneider may be manager of the year this year? And Tony, I mean, I don't know. It's still a bit of it's still so interesting to me that the Jays were not expected to do so well this season. There seems to be so many holes with the bullpen. They keep on doing it. I mean, this doesn't seem like a first place team. I hope you know where I'm going at with this, because, you know, all those years ago, we were expecting the Blue Jays to be a World Series favorite, lock down the AL East in the early 90s. The Raptors, it was a perfectly well-oiled machine, and they obviously won in 2019. But between Jeff Hoffman and the inconsistency of Barrios, I mean, does it seem a little odd that the Jays are doing so well despite all those problems?
Oh yeah, very. Like, for me, 100%. Like, I approached this season, and I said this before, so I'm sorry for sounding repetitive, but I put myself in the Blue Jay fan on recess category because I just wasn't happy with the management group. Not a big fan of the core. Wasn't. Still not to a certain extent, but if you're a fan, you got to cheer on the success. Have I jumped on the bandwagon? A little bit. Like I got the game on now. They're up 1-0. Yeah, they're up 1-0. But no, I didn't expect it. And to be honest, after they went on that run, which was what, the 10-11, was it a 10-game winning streak they hit right before
10 or
that?
11.
Was it 10 or
Yeah, I
11?
think it was. I think it was 11. Yeah.
I kept telling people, just, relax, hit the brakes. This team is capable of just completely falling apart. I was saying it consistently throughout August too. So yeah, I guess I still am, but I think that's what's making this fun. It's kind of nice that they keep proving me wrong and telling me to go fuck myself and putting their middle finger right in my face. I'm okay with that. Prove me wrong. Keep proving me wrong for the rest of the year. But I'm with you. I'm looking at the bracket and seeing the reality that they might end up facing the winner of Boston and New York, and for some reason that gives me the jitters. But admittedly, I haven't watched a ton of baseball this season, so I'm certainly not at Matt's level in terms of understanding who they're playing and what they have to look forward to. But yeah, I keep waiting for the shoot for the for them to bottom out, but it doesn't look like it, and I think we should be prepared for a nice healthy run because this team seems to have a will. And you talk about their pitching issues and not being able to close games. Well, they've been able to come up with big wins late in games over the last few weeks with their bats. And that's what Bo Bichette officially announced today, that he's done for the rest of the regular season as well.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
Addison Barger has been an absolute revelation. Alejandro Kirk, I've said it a million times, is
Your
my
boy.
spirit animal. He's my spirit animal. If I'm not a guy who likes to get jerseys anymore, or players on the back of, I can't justify having some guy 20, 30 years younger than me on wearing their jersey. But I would consider getting an Alejandro just because we look so much alike in terms of in terms of
Yeah, come
stature.
on.
Kind of like Phil Kessel. That's why I was a big fan of Phil Kessel too. But yeah, it's enjoy the ride. I always say, right? It's a lot of fun watching this team develop the way they are, because I guess it makes it more interesting because we never expected it. We never saw this coming.
Never expected it. And
Mm-hmm.
hey, you take a look at the closers from the World Series days with Tom Henke and Dwayne Ward. You think about 2015 with Roberto Osuna. Jeff Hoffman just keeps on coming up short, and every now and then he's able to come out of an inning unscathed. But hey, the bullpen essentially since the beginning of September, an ERA under 1.4, an average opponent's average of less than 135. I mean, hey, maybe they've figured it out, and if that's the case, it's the right time. Maddie, were you about to
Yeah,
say
I was gonna say.
yeah,
So
please.
Toronto was picked by many experts to finish in last place in the AL East. A lot of people counted this team out. A lot of people were going to riot if Vlad Guerrero didn't sign that contract. Eventually he did. And the team has just been playing lights out. Bichette not having him for the rest of the regular season, yeah, it's going to sting a little bit. But I still think the Blue Jays will get the 1 seed in the AL. I like the way their pitching has been. I mean, obviously Jeff Hoffman's the one weakness in the bullpen. If you can't close games out properly, you're going to have a hard time, because in the playoffs, pitching matters more than anything. I know timely hitting is a big thing, but you need to have good pitching both in your bullpen and your starting rotation in the playoffs. And if you can't get that, then you're gonna have to figure out other ways to win or hope for a miracle. But the Blue Jays look like a team that are just ready. They're ready for the postseason. I know the experience doesn't really show. I think the last time we saw this team in the playoffs was when they blew that 8-1 lead to Seattle in the wild card. But
Yep,
I think they're
well,
ready.
Batty, to put you on the spot, because as Tony mentioned, completely agree. We're not at your level when it comes to baseball. I don't know if Ken Rosenthal is at your level, but yeah. When you think of a guy like Jose Barrios, I mean, he has been pretty inconsistent.
Yeah.
Where does a Madison Bumgarner like when you think about Madison Bumgarner, who was
Wow.
just so dominant in those World Series, especially the 15. No, sorry, would have been 15.
It's 2014. 2014. Yeah.
2014, excuse me, against KC. He came out of the bullpen. He was such a workhorse. Tony and I can remember Oral Hershiser when he went 59 scoreless innings for the Dodgers when they won in '88.
Jack Morris,
a 10-inning shutout ball for the Twins in '91. Bumgarner, Hershiser, like, are they marks for the, like, I mean, because from what I remember, Madison Bumgarner was just another guy. He just turned it on in the playoffs. Is it possible that maybe Barrios could do the same thing?
He could do the same thing. I mean, he's had a good year. I mean, not exactly like ideal, but I feel like when you see a guy play a good but not breakout level, you know that when they get to the playoffs, they're in for something special. Because look at, for instance, like, and this could be with any pitcher. The Dodgers had a couple pitchers that weren't that great. I mean, Jack Flaherty specifically, but in the playoffs, he showed up when he had to show up. That could be the same with pitching. Now, I want to get into Bumgarner for a second because you mentioned Madison Bumgarner. You also remember he had some key hits in those World Series, not just he
was a hell of a hitter, yeah.
The dish as well. Like, he was a really good hitter when it came to the playoffs. Barrios could. I think you also got to hope that Max Scherzer turns back the clock one more time, but that's huge too.
Well, yeah, I mean, between Scherzer being over 40, Shane Bieber with coming back from major arm surgery, Hoffman can't be consistent enough. What's Barrios, and of course, the Toronto Blue Jays are 5 games ahead of the Yankees for first place in the AL East, and tops in the AL right now. I mean, it makes perfect sense, doesn't it?
Yep.
But Tony, and another thing as well is that the Jays are putting a lot of importance to Trey Savage. Here is a top prospect who's been dominating. He came up from nowhere. I think he was in Class A at the beginning of the season, and a lot of people were calling him to make the big club. He made his major league debut yesterday. Didn't do too bad, with 9 strikeouts in his major league debut. It was within 5 innings. I believe he had the franchise record for most strikeouts for a Jay to make his debut. Did you think that was still rushing him, though? I mean, anything, of course, can happen. Would you want to put that kind of pressure on a young kid? Doesn't even matter if it's a pitcher, but even a position player, could even be from a different sport. Do you think that they rushed him regardless of how well he pitched yesterday?
Well, clearly not, but there's got to be something in his makeup that the organization feels very confident with, at the very least. And this is, I mean, I remember the days of September call-ups and how it used to work. This kid is coming into the perfect situation. He's not going into, a Pittsburgh Pirates situation where he's surrounded by, a bunch of losers or whatever like that. He's getting valuable experience right now. Being in that winning environment, there's got to be something special about him, because correct me if I'm wrong, Matt, it's not often you see a guy drafted last year as a pitcher and being pushed through into a major league situation that quick. So
correct.
He seems to be different in that sense. And I guess the organization senses it. And he's showed them so far that you're right. I don't think they'll give him too much to do, but I could be wrong. But if you ease him into certain situations, why not? I think it's a great idea. He gets exposed to a winning situation right now, and I think it's only going to be good for him.
But I think to your point, though, Tony, is that how many players are teenagers and early 20s playing Major League Baseball? I mean, off the top of my head, of course, Juan Soto is one, Bryce Harper is one, Ken Griffey Jr., but those are position players.
But pitchers, I mean, Strasburg,
Strasburg. That's exactly who I was
Strasburg,
thinking of. And
Yeah.
I'm trying to think
he
of
didn't.
pitchers.
I think Jeter was 20 when he first got called up, and the Yankees made the playoffs in '95.
Yeah.
So, but Maddie, off the top of your head, can you think of a pitcher who was a teenager in early 20s to make it to the big club?
Drafted. There's a guy drafted by the Oakland A's. I remember.
Yeah, you know,
Todd Van Poppel.
Todd Van Poppel.
Awful.
I can't think of too
job,
many
Ray.
pitchers that get drafted as a young teenager or a 20-year-old. I know I can think of Jackson Churio, a la our good friend Lily Schumacher. I can think of that. But as far as like pitchers go, I can't really think of too many youngster
Very
pitchers
rare.
that come in, unless I'm forgetting one. I know that if the Yankees get that playoff spot, they're going to start Cam Schlittler, one of their top prospects, and he's in his early 20s, if not maybe 19 or 20. I don't know his name. I don't know his age off the top of my head, but he's a young kid. He's 21, 20, maybe even 19. But he is probably going to start in the playoffs as their third starter. And I think that pitching in the playoffs and pitching in a regular season game are two completely different things. Because in the playoffs, it's win or go home for the most part. Well, now that we have the wild card, it's best of 3. So you're more than likely going to have, if you lose a critical game, that could hurt you in the long run. You have 162 games in the regular season to determine how good of a team you're going to be. If you're a young kid, you need to get into the system and acclimated quickly, because if you're put in a playoff situation, the amount of pressure you face is immensely high.
So Cam Schlittler, he is 24. Paul Skeens, he's 23. Paul Skeens, and of course, they're probably going to rename the Cy Young Trophy in Paul Skeens' honor.
That's right. Yeah,
he's that dominant. Or is it possible? Here's another impossible question for you: that this whole development process is not really needed. I mean, because you go from Class A to Double. I mean, why? I mean, if you're an 18, 19-year-old kid and can play basketball, you're going to be in the NBA right away.
Right.
And Tony, same thing for hockey. I mean, do you need to be? Well, I guess it was only recently where football players could declare early and they could enter the NFL draft. But why do pitchers need to be why do they need to be brought up so slowly, especially these days when their arm falls off anyway?
I could think of a couple good reasons. Because in pitching, there's a lot of mechanics that go into the type of pitch you're going to throw. It takes a certain conditioning to get yourself to 6 innings, to get yourself to 7 innings. For any given situation. Like in baseball, in college, at the college ranks, your arm gets tired after 100 pitches. Sometimes the stars would have to go past 100 pitches to get to 6 innings, 7 innings, what have you. And, you have to condition.
But they're only going 5-6 innings now.
Correct.
And why waste all that talent in Double-A if you're that dominant? If they're on a strict pitch, I mean, they're on it.
Yeah, but it's a bigger risk, especially with pitchers.
Yeah,
I'm going to repeat what Matt's saying. There's a lot of different mechanics that go with it. And look, most of the time, you're going to have to change the way you throw when you get to the majors based on, what a pitching coach is looking at. I mean, a famous example for us here is what Roy Halladay, God rest his soul, had to do when he went all the way back down to Single A and just completely redeveloped his mechanics and the way he threw a pitch. So, it's a very delicate position, as we know, and it's the same way with goalies in the NHL. Really, it's very rare to have goalies jump in. I mean, Marc-Andre Fleury being the exception, Carey Price, of course, but it's very rare because it's just a different type of position where you're out there on your own. I mean, you can make an argument for a lot of quarterbacks should not be starting as early as they do when they're drafted. See Patrick Mahomes, see Aaron Rodgers, see Jordan Love, Steve Young. It took some time for these Hall of Fame type quarterbacks to sit behind somebody and develop. So I think being careful is okay. I mean, is it possible to be too careful? Sure, but they see what we don't see, and pitching coaches aren't stupid. I mean, they're not hired. They're hired on merit, so there's something that they see. So it's a very delicate position, and you want to protect your investment. And also, I think it probably takes a little longer to pay them a lot of money too, right? Let them sit in the minors and make a little less money for.
And then get paid the big dollars at some point for sure. Guys, over to the NFL, and hey, quite a start on a number of fronts. I mean, Kansas City Chiefs, they have lost the 3 games in a row if you count last year's Super Bowl. Could there be trouble in Taylor and Travis land? I mean, if that's the case, Taylor, I'm here for you. But hey, Maddie, and you are a proud member of Giants Nation, correct?
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. So, so with Daniel Jones having a great start to, he is doing quite well in Indianapolis versus the Kansas City Chiefs going 0-2 so far. I mean, what is there anything between those two, or is it something else that's been that has stood out the most the start of this young season?
Well, obviously, Daniel Jones, I didn't have him going 2-0 to begin the season in my scrapbook. I did not have that happening at all. The Giants put up a strong effort against the Dallas Cowboys in week 2. We lost at the very end of overtime, which pissed me off, to say the least. I don't like to use words like that on this show. Believe me, I don't. But it stinks because the Cowboys, I can't tolerate their fans. I can't tolerate their owner. I can't tolerate their players and their legends. And to lose to them, my blood pressure rose on Sunday. You did not want to be 10 feet near me because
that must have been a tough one.
It was a tough one to swallow. That was a tough Sunday, I can tell you that much. But the NFL season, like it's good to see that a different team is coming. Like for example, the Chargers are in first place in the AFC West, and Justin Herbert is looking great. The Chiefs at 0-2. I mean, they're probably still suffering from the fact that they got blown out in the Super Bowl. And guess what? They're coming to the Meadowlands on Sunday night to face the Giants. And I'm honestly just hoping the fact that Travis Kelce just regresses a little bit more, and the Giants just can't come in there and say, okay, you know what? Enough of this, and just blow them out of the water. Because for my psyche, I'm going to therapy for this. So this is something I absolutely need. I need a victory.
And who put the nail in the coffin? But for the Giants on Sunday, Tony, it was former Toronto FC prospect Brandon Aubrey. Yeah, right. Incredible stuff. So Tony, I don't know if you could see, but I know that you saw on my social media that I do have. I finally got that DeMar Hamlin jersey, and actually, you're not a jersey guy. You go to Walmart website, and this jersey was like less than $50. So thank God I didn't have to spend like $2. Well, pardon the pun. On this Buffalo jersey. Yeah. But look, of course, off the top of the show, I was tongue-in-cheek in saying that the Bills are a lock to make the Super Bowl, but especially around Toronto sports media, God only knows what it's like in Buffalo. I mean, they're calling the Bills, of course, I don't know if runaway favorite is fair, but one of the big possibilities of making that Super Bowl. And but of course, anything can happen. I mean, hey, this season is only like 20 minutes old. I mean, between that and the Jays, I mean, how many times have we already have been equating the Jays to a potential World Series berth. I mean, is this kind of like media narrative a little tiresome for you?
No, it's not tiresome. I mean, they are contenders. They're one of the elite teams in AFC, and as long as you have Josh Allen as your quarterback and playing the way he's playing, you have a chance. Now, does that mean I don't have my doubts? Of course I do. I don't know defensively if they can hold up um, in crunch time. But no, it's not tiresome. They absolutely deserve to be considered a Super Bowl contender because they're one of the elite teams in AFC. They're going to win their division. Now that's obviously not saying much. Jets,
Mm-hmm.
Dolphins, Patriots are not at their best right now. Um, Baltimore is obviously should be considered a contender as well. KC, I'm not writing them off yet. The Chargers are coming on. But when you look at the overall scope in the AFC, it pretty much ends there. So if you're one of four teams that realistically can get to the Super Bowl, I don't think it's overhyped. I just think it's the right prognostication. So it's a team that is capable of getting to the Super Bowl. I have my doubts, like I said, but as long as you have Josh Allen, you have a chance. You absolutely have a chance.
Yeah, you do. You know, you definitely have a chance for sure. But because there's Super Bowl history is what it is. Uh, it's putting the cart before the horse to a degree. I mean, for somebody like yourself who was obviously bled the blue, white, and red of the Buffalo Bills, like, I mean, I'm just so enamored by everything going on with the Bills, and like I am nowhere near as much of a fan like you. I guess that I kind of wish that the media kind of like lightened up a little bit, like take it on a week by week basis. I know that viewership is what it is, and hey, we live in Toronto, where any sort of possibility of the Leafs making a long run in the playoffs is always overblown to the next nth degree. But yeah, no, with those Bills, well, actually, here's a question for you. Are you more of a Bills fan or a Jays fan? I think I know the answer to this.
Bills, yeah, I think
Yeah.
my hierarchy right now is based on the sports I watch more, right? I might have been more of a Jays fan, a few years back when I watched baseball more, but I find myself at this point, it's Bills, Jays, sorry, Penguins, Bills, like Toronto FC and United, Manchester
Mm,
United, AC Milan, because I watch soccer a lot, so it's like my three soccer teams are high priorities as well. But
okay.
I think
Yeah, fair
Penguins
enough.
and Bills. So I think the Bills have overtaken the Blue Jays for sure.
Yeah.
Maybe they've been for a while. I don't know. I base it on the sports I watch too more, Randy. Like it's not. I just don't watch baseball that much anymore. I don't know why, but
Yeah.
there's only so much
Yeah.
time in the day.
Well, I don't even know why either, to tell you the truth, because before the Raptors came around, I was all about the Jays and of course the Leafs. But yeah, there was a huge disconnect with baseball and me, and maybe it's because the Yankees and the Red Sox were in the same division. Like there was no chance that Toronto, especially in the early 2000s and after the strike in '94, that the Jays just couldn't compete with those damn Yankees, right, Matty?
Correct. Yeah.
Attention span might have something to do with it. We have less of it these days because of social media, I think, and just getting your quick fix on things. And baseball is not something you've got to devote some time to baseball. You got to sit and pay attention to it.
Correct.
Not anymore.
And
No, not anymore. Because like I went
they've done a
to
good job
the
speeding it
game.
up and stuff. But
Yeah, yeah, and I think and Maddie, like we were talking about it with Sal a couple weeks ago. It seems that you guys are not in favor of the changes to speeding up the game. Is that fair to say? Or
Well,
because the game that I went to against Houston, it was done in less than 2 hours and 10 minutes.
mhm.
And I think the average length of a game has been cut by what? Half an hour, 45
But
minutes?
like 45 minutes to 50 minutes, yeah.
Yeah. So, but you're still not a fan of the changes to speed up the game?
Believe it or not, I actually like the changes to speed up the game, and the reason why is because I don't like how in between pitches guys are scratching their butts and flickering their noses in between pitches, and it just it slows the game down, and it could change the outcome of a game. But like if you speed things up and actually make it a watchable game and more action going on, that's what I like. I'm in favor of the rule changes. Sal's a little old school. He's not really into that kind of
Okay.
stuff. So, like new school, old school, you're gonna get the new school saying one thing, and the old school saying a different thing.
Yeah.
But what I will say is the pitch clock needs to stay. I think the way they have it now is structured perfectly. I think that it makes every pitch more important, and I like the pitch clock violation. I think that's another big thing too. But like I said, you don't want a pitch taking 2 minutes to throw. Like that's just kind of like it drags out the game.
Yeah, I completely agree. Especially with the one thing that I wish that they do bring back is the intentional walk. I want to see the 4 pitches. I do want to see that, but I think Major League Baseball has done a really great job with speeding up the game. And yeah, I'm caught up. I'm caught up to the Jays, like my Buffalo Bills. But hey, Tony, I mean, speaking about one of your other teams there, of course, you just mentioned it. It is the Pittsburgh Penguins. And from Yager and Lemieux, of course, they go to Sidney Crosby and Evgeny Malkin. And especially over the past couple of seasons, the Penguins have not made the playoffs. And Crosby's agent, Pat Brisson, did have a couple of interesting things to say about Pierre LeBrun. I'm paraphrasing here, but essentially Brisson said it's always a possibility. It's a possibility that Crosby may accept a trade. He wants to be playing playoff hockey, and he should be playing playoff hockey every year. Crosby kind of denounced those comments. Are you still of that position? I know that we've talked about it before, but are you still confident that Sid is going to stick around with Pittsburgh?
I'm confident that he wants to finish his career as a Pittsburgh Penguin. Absolutely. I think he wants to, but if you're staring down a fourth straight season without the playoffs, which is what they are now, he's going to have some decisions to make in the offseason, which I totally understand. And so therefore, yeah, there is a possibility he could end up somewhere else. I did, up to about this past offseason, I was 100% confident he's not going anywhere, no matter what. But there is a window there. There is a window there. There's a sliver that tells me that he is leaning that way. And obviously, he's very good friends with Brad Marchand. He saw what Brad Marchand went through this year, being traded, having his career rejuvenated, Stanley Cup champion, ends up signing a 4-year
Sure.
extension. He went to his Stanley Cup party in Nova Scotia. Their off-season training buddies, fellow Nova Scotians. So he could
Mm-hmm.
be having that creeping in his head, saying, maybe I need this as well. And so anything is possible. Here's what I know. Sid has absolutely 100% earned the right to control what happens in his career, and I'd respect
Sure.
any decision he makes at this point because he's earned it. He's given everything he's had to the Pittsburgh Penguins, and right now they're not a good enough team to give him a chance at having some playoff success. I will say this, though. Some of it is on him, and I've said it before. When he stepped in during contract negotiations a few years ago under the Ron Hextall, Brian Burke era, he positioned hard on keeping Evgeny Malkin, especially. My
Right.
my thinking was you walk away from both Malkin and Letang, open up some serious cap space to keep the thing going. Kind of what the Washington Capitals are doing right now. They got lucky because of Nicholas Backstrom having the long-term injury, which ultimately resulted in retirement. But decisions like that help get the Penguins where they are right now. And Kyle Dubas is in a position where he's got to think about the future. Now, having said all that, we're drafting Sean McKenna first overall this year because that's just the way it goes for the Pittsburgh Penguins. The next great one's coming to the Berg. But yeah, I'm a little less confident now than I was a few months ago. And I don't think it's got anything to do with what Pat Brisson says. These two have been together for a very long time. I think 15, 14 years old. An agent. So they're in lockstep. This wasn't by accident, right? Pat Brisson's not putting this out by accident. He's taking the heat off of Sid, and he's putting Sid in the position saying, hey, my thing hasn't changed. I want to be a Penguin for the rest of my career. This is what I want. This is what I want. But there is a but, right? And we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it plays out. But I would be sad. I want to see him go wire to wire. He's going to break Mario Lemieux's all-time points record, I believe. Well, he's got his games easy. Mario didn't play that many games. Yeah, it's very possible.
Well, I think it seems obvious that Sidney Crosby is somebody who likes a routine, and his contract is such where it's $8.7 million. And I mean, is it very possible that he's going to pick up and go to another team? Forget about during the off season, let alone in the middle of a season. I don't see that happening. You mentioned the fact of Marchand and the relationship between Marchand and Sid. I was thinking it was going to be Colorado or nothing. And, you kind of gave an indication that Florida could be a possibility as well. I mean, I'm a little surprised.
Montreal is a
Montreal as well. I mean, I think that would be a certain romance of it all because he was a Canadiens fan as a kid growing up. And of course, if there is one person who can care less about what hockey fans think, you got to think it's Sidney Crosby. Here's a guy who has no social media. I mean, I don't even know if you could tell me the name of his girlfriend or wife, or if he even has one. But
Karen Lautner, I think her name is.
But it sounded like you're guessing. I mean,
they've never been seen in public before.
Well, yeah, that's how private the guy is. But I am wondering if a guy like Sidney Crosby would go to a team like the Florida Panthers because they're so stacked, like Kevin Durant going to the Golden State Warriors. Is that what we're talking about here? I don't see Sid doing that. Like, I just thought it would be Colorado or nothing.
Doubtful. I think Colorado is that's another one of those ones that everybody has automatically drawn to because of the Nathan McKinnon factor. But I think Montreal is a very realistic. If he decides to move and puts the wheels in motion, says, okay, I want to give this a shot. I think Montreal is a very real possibility because you're right. He's very much a guy of routine. And I think he'd want to give it a shot on a Canadian team. He'd want to give it a shot at bringing that first Stanley Cup back to Canada since 1993.
Well, if that was the case, you would think that Montreal would have traded that Carey Price contract to Pittsburgh. Maybe, who knows if they had any discussion. Yeah, I mean, who knows if they had any discussion about that? Of course, nobody knows. But I mean, Sid in a Montreal. What's that?
He won't be traded. We're gonna have to wait for the off season to see what happens with Sid.
Yeah, because no, I don't think that if anything, I don't think Sid is going to accept a trade, especially with training camp less than a week away. Maddie, before we sign off on hockey, of course, the Yeah, but the Winter Olympics are in a few months. It's going to be in Italy, and of course, the U.S. men's hockey team is one of the top favorites to win Olympic gold. Of course, they did
Yep.
have an appetizer, if you will, with the Four Nations face-off. USA,
Uh-huh.
yeah, well, USA finished second to Canada, but such an incredible tournament. The team is so stacked, and of course, the Four Nations face-off really brought up a lot of attention. You and I have talked about it a number of times. I mean, do you think that the United States, is there like USA hockey? Do you think that a lot is riding on this particular tournament with everything that's going on, everything that did happen in the Four Nations, and the fact that the
Mm.
U.S. is so stacked, uh, talent-wise, that it's basically gold or bust?
All right. So one thing that you mentioned is that so the Four Nations face off was on a little bit of a lower scale because it wasn't the Olympics. The Olympics, everyone tunes into the Olympics. The Olympics are country versus country pride. That's really what this is all about. Now, Four Nations face off is the same thing, but it's on a smaller scale. The Olympics are huge, and there's more nations, more competition, more reason to be worried. But one thing that you mentioned is that Four Nations face-off final, that may have been one of the best hockey games I've ever seen in my life. And I think that
For sure.
the United States is probably pissed that they lost that game the way they did. And I think that going into the Olympic tournament, they're probably going to be motivated to bring gold back home. Now, I can't remember the last time that Team USA won the gold medal in hockey in the Winter Olympics, but it probably was
gold
like
medal. That would have been 1980, right, Tony?
1980.
Miracle on Ice.
America,
Yeah,
yeah,
1980.
that's right. Yeah, 46 years. At that time, that was a massive upset at the time. So 46 years of a drought. I think the U.S. is determined to try and snap this. And if they do, I think that hockey is going to be the cream of the crop. Well, hey, listen, 46 years of a drought, not winning a gold medal, but no offense, we've had 30-plus years of Stanley Cup trophies.
Hey, no, give credit where credit's due. Now,
Fair.
of course, a lot of those
Very fair.
players on those
Correct.
USA
Yeah, no, I know.
teams are Canadian, but I mean,
I'm aware.
no,
I'm aware.
but truthfully, and I said it on the show here that I thought USA was going to take it.
I thought so too. It was close.
I mean, Tony, would you say Canada winning Four Nations was an upset? Because I would say it is. I mean, who's Jordan Bennington over Connor Hellebuck?
No, I wouldn't say it was an upset. I think it was even money between the U.S. and Canada. And
You do, huh?
overtime? It was an overtime.
It was overtime, and we just lost Tony. Hopefully, we get Tony back here shortly.
Yeah.
But between Connor McDavid and Austin Matthews, I mean, maybe the talent would go to McDavid, like one-on-one, maybe it would go to McDavid, but
Right.
between the Tkachuk brothers, between why am I blanking? Of course I'm blanking now. Jack Eichel, I mean, yeah.
The Hughes brothers.
The Quinn didn't make it. He was injured.
Right.
But especially when it came to goaltending, the U.S. was stacked, and I thought that Canada was going to have a hard time, especially with Sidney Crosby being as towards the latter part of his 30s. Same with Brad
Right.
Marchand. Yeah, and but we'll see. Yeah, I mean, it'd be interesting to see if the U.S. if it's going to evolve at some point, because I was taking a look at their who could potentially lead the U.S. in men's basketball. And yeah, sure, you had Anthony Edwards, but they also had, I can't remember who I was watching. I think it was the NBA. Oh my God, the show with Malika Andrews and the NBA show, NBA Today. Excuse me.
Yeah.
And you had I think Devin Booker. There was Joel Embiid, and you didn't have the ultra dominant stars like you did with Kevin Durant and LeBron James, Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan in 1992.
Yeah.
I mean, what
I remember that Team USA team for 2024 like the back of my hand. I remember it was Joel, it was Kevin Durant, it was LeBron, Steph Curry got his probably only gold medal of his career. Yeah, Jason Tatum. Like, it was a very stacked team, and they were the cream of the crop the entire way throughout the tournament. But I remember that compared to 2021, where they barely won the gold medal, that was it was night and day. 2021, they won the gold medal, but not as comfortably as they did this year.
Well, yeah, and there were close matches in the gold medal game. I mean, from 2024, excuse me. I think even the Redeem team was a close game as well in 2012. But there was of course. Hey, Tony's back. All right. Maddie and I, we were talking about the U.S. basketball team there. But yeah, you said that Canada's Four Nations squad wasn't so much of an upset. It was a flip of the coin. And truthfully, I'm a little surprised because between the Kachuk brothers and Austin Matthews, you had Jack Eichel there. Actually, maybe Eichel was hurt. But between McDavid, I mean, could you put Marner on that list of leaders on that team? Crosby, Marchand, they're north of mid-30s. Like
McKinnon, Bennett.
And McKinnon, sure. Yeah.
Makar.
Sam Reinhart.
I will say the Canadian dominance over the last few decades has probably motivated United States players to up their game, because one thing that the United States has taken pride in over the last couple decades in the Olympics, Summer Olympics, Winter Olympics, is actually being competitive and actually putting up a good product and winning gold medals. Now in the Summer Olympics, they're dominant there. We know that for years now. And in the winter sports, the U.S. isn't the superpower. It's usually Canada or a couple other countries like the Netherlands or something like that. So the U.S. is ramping up their game, extra training, extra reps, like you name it. They're trying.
Well, just more exposure. I mean, expect more exposure as well, Maddie, because
correct.
Arizona, they didn't have their franchise has now left, obviously in Utah, but the Toronto Maple Leafs have stars from the state of Arizona, and Austin Matthews and Matthew Nyes. Stars potentially elite players from maybe the state of Texas or even Florida. I mean, with the Lightning and the Panthers going as strong, it's just a matter of time before U.S. is running the show in terms of international hockey, I think.
It's possible. It's possible. And listen, the exposure, like you said, absolutely helps.
Yeah.
We're seeing the fruits of the development program that started. They started aggressively on it, I guess, 20 years ago, maybe a little bit before that. And it's we're seeing the fruits of it now. Basically, you're seeing a lot of talented players from all over the U.S. Like you said, Randy. There's not a place you can't go anymore to unearth a hockey player, and the development program has been a huge reason for it. And college too. College has become
true.
A place to go. I mean, it's not just junior hockey anymore. And of course, with NIL, which we discussed on a previous episode, that also helps too, of course.
Yeah, and with the recent wave of expansion, when you go to San Jose, to both teams in Florida, you move the Jets to Phoenix, Nashville. It's a matter of time before elite talent come from those states and play hockey. Guys, it is time for Straight Facts, Bro Relax. It is the final segment of the show. Straight facts, bro, relax. We are going to take a different twist from previous episodes, and it was a very dark week last week in the United States with the assassination of Charlie Kirk. And as you two may know, I am not on the same side of the political aisle as Charlie Kirk. I do know your particular affiliations. I respect it greatly. Tony and I have had some great chats over the years, obviously not to the degree of these political commentators, but we definitely respect opinion. And it was Charlie Kirk's opinions that got him shot. And one political program that I really enjoy is Real Time with Bill Maher. And he tends to have Republican, conservative voices as his panelists, and had Ben Shapiro on after the Kirk assassination. I want to read a quote from Shapiro. And he said, "I never, honest to God, thought that we were going to get to the point, even the assassination of political figures is not the same thing as just being shot in the throat for the crime of debating issues in the public square." And I thought wrong. I being, of course, Ben Shapiro. That part, I have to say, is something that I don't agree with. Because look at the state of events that have taken over the past couple of years. You think about Gabby Giffords. You think about Steve Scalise. You think about Donald Trump, especially the one time in Butler, Pennsylvania. But you think about the second time when there was an apparent assassination attempt at a golf course nearby. Right. And I'm sure that you two have particular opinions to this. And I have to say that for me, it's not about who is more responsible, who does it worse. This is about those who like to poke the bear, those who support those opinions against those who have been poked. And the way I see it is that social media has just evolved to a point where people cannot handle it.
Yes.
And I personally am a fan of legacy media. I do find it is an irony because, of course, this show is not on legacy media, but you have cancel culture that is obvious and so evident in legacy media, but then you have a violent culture in what is evolving today. And I don't think that this is the great alternative to legacy media. Tony, I know that you have a couple of thoughts. What do you think?
Disagree with you. The difference between those people you mentioned is that they're actual politicians. And so we've seen people take shots at politicians in the past. This was a guy who was doing exactly what we should be doing as a society. And that's having discourse, that's having conversations. That's, being out in the public square, like Ben Shapiro said, and debating. Prove me wrong. I'm not trying to change you, but I'm going to have a conversation with you. And the problem with Charlie Kirk is that he was flipping a lot of youth. He was getting them on board with what the country should start to look like again, or what would look like. And whether you agree with it or not, that instantly made him a threat. And in many ways, he was a bigger threat than some of these politicians because we have never seen a conservative movement for youth like this before in our lives in the States. You just never seen it before. Another thing that Ben Shapiro mentioned is, and the other thing I disagree with Sori, is that we do need to start looking at sides. We do need to start looking at where the blame should be laid here. It's not about, this is not both siding it anymore, Randy. This is a violent um, reaction to arguments that you can't win. You're not trying to debate. You're just trying to shout people down. And that's happening a hell of a lot more on the left now than it is on the right. So I think you have to parse that out. I think you have to look at that. I don't think we can be nice about it anymore. Just look at George Floyd and look at the reaction to that, as opposed to look at the reaction to what's happening out in the streets with Charlie Kirk. A lot of nice prayer vigils, a lot of nice protests, quiet prayer vigils for Charlie Kirk. Nothing's getting burned down. No businesses are getting destroyed. Nobody's getting shot. And to piggyback off of something else that Ben Shapiro said, and I agree with you on social media, it is a problem when it comes to that as well. But he also said there's been permission structures put in place to.
So you caught the episode. You caught the episode with Bill Maher.
Well, no, he says this on his show as well. But yes, he talks about the permission structures that have been put in place by Democrat politicians, the legacy media that you love so much, et cetera, to categorize speech and words as violence. And I think that's wrong. It's unless you're actually calling for the death of somebody, words are just words. And if we get to a point now where that's considered violence, where words are considered violence, then we got a long way to go. We got a problem. That's not the society I grew up in, and that's not a society I want to be a part of. And to sit there and to listen to some of your legacy media cohorts saying how Donald Trump needs to temper the rhetoric. Well, it's been over a decade where they've been calling him Hitler and a Nazi. What do you think is going to happen? What do you think is going to happen? There's a lot of vulnerable kids out there, right? Especially people in the trans community as well. Very vulnerable people. You keep poking, you talk about poking the bear. You keep telling him this guy is here to erase you. He's erasing you. He's dehumanizing you. He's violent with his words. What do you think is going to happen? All it takes is one person to be triggered by it, and we get to what we get to. So what are the answers? What are the solutions? I have no idea, but this one hit hard because this is a kid, basically, 31-year-old kid with a family, not trying to hurt anybody. I've been on a rabbit hole of his stuff since his passing. It's just popped up in my timeline. And my God, it seems so simple, the discourse between him and people who are trying to challenge him. He's so respectful. He was so calm. It's insane. It's insane. I don't know how it changes. I have zero confidence that the rhetoric will get tamped down, because you saw what the celebrations were like after he passed. I mean, there's been hundreds of firings because just deranged people have been celebrating this guy's death. And it all has to do with just people who are ignorant, never listen to what he say, just echoing the same shit that gets put out there. He's a racist. He's a white supremacist. He wants to erase black people. It's the same routine over and over again. They all do it. And it hasn't worked. It's not working. And in fact, more and more people are calling out that bullshit. So that's why I'm thankful to have platforms like this. I'm thankful to have non-legacy media platforms doing as well as they are, because I think you're getting something a lot more real there. I really do. If you find the right balance, you're getting a lot better information than you are with legacy media, because they're in on it. They're in on big time. They've got some blood on their hands too, Randy. And so that's where I disagree with you there. But yeah, man, shitty times. I don't know what else to say about it. Matt, I'll give you a shot at it too. But this one's sad. It's sad because it's just, he did nothing other than just invite conversations, like I said. And he was good at it. He was good at it, and he became a threat, and they killed him for it.
Okay. Let me just, I'm not I have not watched any political commentary over the last several days, but I do have my own thoughts in my head that I can just unveil without, pointing towards other people. So last year, when Donald Trump was almost assassinated in Pennsylvania, leading up to that, the media were calling him a threat to democracy. And that was put out over and over and over again. And what did it do? It caused one youngster, I believe in his young teens, early 20s, to go to the top of the roof and try to shoot him. And Trump was saved by this much. This much. And then what happened was he got up, he was okay, and then you had the iconic image of him holding up his fist in the air, saying "fight, fight, fight." What this needs now, the media, like Randy has said, it's influenced so many people, and social media. It's a good thing to keep in touch with society, but it's also a bad thing because if you're our youngsters, like in your young teens, early 20s, as mentioned before, that little age group, that demographic, you could be easily influenced by what you see online or on television or here on radio and just think that that's the truth when it's not. And it could eat you up. It could consume your mental process, and it can make you say, you know what? I want to take action. Because sometimes we hear the same stuff all the time. We just get sick and tired of hearing it, or we just don't like what we're hearing and we just want to put an end to it. But as someone who's going to therapy, let me tell you this. Violence is not the answer. Never has been, and it never will be. And all I can think about right now is that two nuggets don't have their father to grow up with. And someone's a widow now because of the stupidity of someone's actions. I don't like it when that people are celebrating death of someone who, just like we said, he's inviting conversation. He's getting people to speak. He's getting people to, showcase what their knowledge and just ask questions and get information and maybe learn something. And all I learned was that there are some cruel people out there. And if you were celebrating Charlie Kirk's death and you lost your job, no offense, you deserve it. Because it's not professional, it's not appropriate, it's despicable, and it should not be allowed or tolerated. And it sickens me that this is not the first time this has happened. It's happened before in the past. Like, there are politicians that are getting threats or gunshots and like people are getting killed. Like, it's not right. And I think the three of us, I can sit here today and say, you know what? Stuff needs to change for the better. And it's not even about if you're left, right, middle. Violence is not the answer. And we need to talk. We need to be there for one another, and we need to have a conversation, because sometimes talking is better than actions.
Well, a couple of things that I definitely want to unpack there, because what I refer to is in legacy media, which may be different to Tony's interpretation, is simply the 11 o'clock news and not the opinion shows, the opinion-laced shows on CNN, Fox, MSNBC. I mean, MSNBC, CNN, maybe they could be a part of the same team, but Fox, which we don't have in basic cable, Maddie, here in Canada, it is available, but you have to pay extra for it. Those opinion shows disguise themselves as news outlets.
Correct.
And between those legacy media programs, then you have the same, what I like to think is the same dynamic with Harry Sisson, with there's another Democrat, Brian Tyler Cohen. You think about Benny Johnson, excuse me. You think about Charlie Kirk, Megyn Kelly. They're all following the same line. If you're talking about, if you're somebody like Brian Tyler Cohen and you're talking about how Trump's plan to strengthen the border, you're going to lose followers. If you're going to be a guy like Benny Johnson and says that gun legislation needs to be more regulated, you're going to lose followers. People are saying that January 6th wasn't a big deal, that the cops were letting them all in, and the same whether depending on what aisle you are politically, the COVID vaccine was legitimate. It was a hoax. But guess who's going to say what? It's wherever they're on the political aisle. Here's another thing about social media that I am really against. And of course, I am hypocritical in saying this. But with legacy media, you don't have the potential of teenagers and younger kids seeing unedited footage and close-up footage of Charlie Kirk's assassination and that blood flowing out of his throat. That is something that I think is very, very valuable in legacy media. That kind of censorship is needed for kids today, because seeing those kind of videos, I'm sorry, whether it's this kid that shot Charlie Kirk, whether it's the kid that shot the supermarket in Buffalo, that they see these grotesque videos and it incites the rage, especially when you see tweets on Twitter. So, you go and see the vitriol that has taken place, and there has to be some sort of regulation. Like, how can there not be? So when, Tony, and I don't agree with the whole dynamic of they're all in on it, because with me, my bread and butter is the 11 o'clock news. I don't follow any of these magazine programs and the opinion programs. I do like Real Time with Bill Maher very much, because he has opened the door to the other side of the aisle. Now, and here's another thing too, which Ben Shapiro said on Bill Maher's show, was that 58%. Now, I don't know what poll Ben Shapiro got this from, but 58% of Gen Z says there needs to be something to do about violent culture. And Shapiro made the point that 42% of Gen Z thinks that, that issues need to be resolved with words and not actions. That's the 58%. 42% agrees with this kind of thinking, that violence is the answer. So when you have 42% of 340 million people in the United States, Maddie, that's an assload million amount of people.
It is,
so,
yes.
So
I don't think anybody in America was polled on that. That's why. I mean, some of the polls are.
Of course, sure, but I mean, from an observer's point of view, Tony, whether your daughters are teenagers or not, apologize, I don't really know, but
they are.
You have to think that they are subject to a lot more grotesque, a lot more vile messaging and video and content than you and I were subject to when we were their age. And give me that kind of content any day of the week. I mean, like, why would you want your daughters to see that kind of media of Charlie Kirk's as he was being shot? Hey, and call me guilty. I mean, I saw it as well. There's no way that the leaders of Twitter or Instagram or whoever could not immediately scrap that video and not have it shown on their platforms.
Well,
listen, the kids play video games that are extremely violent. The shit that's being told to them on just listening to rap music is the same shit. Like, you can influence a kid in a million different ways, just like we were, but we had less things to view when we were younger, for sure. But
which is social media.
But I think we're evading the real issue, and that's that we have accepted, and we live in a time now where I'll say it again. Words have become violence, and that's a structure that's been set up by just people who can't win the argument, people who have no other way to operate in a regular discourse, people who know they're wrong but need to fight because they want to stay in their get along gang and be a part of the group and toe the company line. That's where we're at now. I really do
Yeah.
believe it, that there's a structure in place where you just shout somebody down. You can't beat them in an argument. You're racist. You're a transphobe. You're a Nazi. That's the culture we live in now. That's the structure you see it in
Okay.
workplaces everywhere you work now. I've
Sure.
been I work for two different companies now that are about as woke as you can get. Like it's unbelievable. Like it's
Mhm.
unreal. You know, we are here to please 1% of the population, and we are, lionizing victims, and we are making, and good people are paying the price for it. Good people are paying the price in our society today, right?
Okay.
I've never
So
seen it like this before. It's unbelievable. But
nobody has. Nobody has seen it like this.
And so
But
when we talk, so I'm saying when we talk about exposure to this or to that, at the end of the day, it's like how it was 20 years ago. It's up to us in our homes and how we raise our kids and how we talk to each other before they get out there in public. And hopefully you've reached through to them, you know. But it's tough. It's tough for sure.
Yeah.
no, well, you know what, Tony? I don't know how tough it would be, to tell you the truth, because, like, okay, now with regards to fake Instagram accounts, like, okay, the three of us, you know, let's focus on Instagram. Now, there are so many people, teenagers and young people especially. Maddie probably knows several, where you have a fake Instagram account, which is solely for trolling. So that means you're following thousands of people and you have so little followers, but it's solely made. I mean, Brian Colangelo apparently had a fake Twitter account, and he was using it for talking smack to like any one of his detractors. Apparently, Kevin Durant as well. Yeah,
Foreign bot accounts as well, Randy. Like you have a lot of foreign bot accounts.
Foreign bot
Amongst
accounts, of course.
people
You mean
overseas
to
who
tell
are
me?
trying to divide us. Structures are in
Sure.
place to divide us as a society. 100%.
So, but you mean to tell me that Mark Zuckerberg can't flush out those fake Instagram accounts and those bot accounts? You mean to tell me that there is
I
no
think they tried their
possibility?
best. I think they work
Oh,
on it
I
every
don't think
day.
so.
I
I don't
think they
know.
do, but it's
I
that
don't think
fine
so.
line between free speech and censorship, right? We still have an obligation to free speech. One of the things I admire about the United States of America is that they're very serious about the First Amendment. I don't think we have as much as that going on in Canada like we once did. I think we're losing some of that. So there, it's free speech. It's just speech.
But what
You know,
exactly is free speech? But what does that mean exactly? Like, what does like, could free speech mean that I could say untowards comments to teenagers? Does free speech mean that I could say god awful things to any sort of visible minority, or
yes,
uh
yes,
n-
it
but I mean,
does.
like, if I don't
It
mean
does.
it,
It
but if I
doesn't
don't
mean
mean it.
it doesn't mean it shouldn't come without some consequences here and there. Like you get fired for if I'm sitting here and I dehumanize you because we have different skin colors and my work hears it fires me. Fair game, absolutely. But should I be shot or go to jail for it?
Okay,
No.
that's a completely different thing. Because what I'm getting at here,
That's what
what I'm
free
getting
speech
at,
should be, right?
that's what it should be. But free speech should not include trolling accounts, and specifically, like, I mean, take a look at any sort of I'm going to pull one out of the air, Kobe Bryant's death. And all of those negative trolling comments, that when Vanessa Bryant was suing the airliner, the helicopter company, that, or whatever, and like, people were saying that Vanessa Bryant lost her looks. Vanessa Bryant already has so much money, she doesn't need to sue anybody. Kobe Bryant was cheating on, like, I mean, that to me is not free speech. That to
No.
me is hurtful comments. That to me, you should get thrown the book at. Now, for somebody who is on the left, and I think I've said this on the show, that if you have an elementary school class writing the city of Cleveland to oppose the team name Indians, I got a problem with that. For somebody who is on the left, you don't subject little kids to that kind of position because they're only little kids. I don't agree with the whole gender testosterone blocking the whole thing until you're of an adult age. Now, I know I'm getting way into the weeds here, but when it comes to free speech, I think it's a snap of a finger. I just don't think that these leaders of the social media companies, whether it's Instagram or X or Facebook,
Yeah.
there's so much money to be made from these trolls. Why would they want to give that up? I think it falls solely on them.
Like I said, they're the ones who influence a certain generation, and maybe even a little bit beyond that. Because if you're 20 to 30 years old, you're going to see 30 to 40-year-olds also use social media because you're at that age where you want to get ideas of how you can bring people into your business or get new customers or stuff of that nature. Like whatever works to get you clicks, whatever works to get you followers, subscribers, whatever the case may be, that's what's going to work. Now, sometimes it could be a political based tactic. Sometimes it could be, your own narrative and just kind of putting and sprinkling it with sprinkling history with your own little position. But to me, I just think the most important thing about life is just be your authentic self with everything. And Charlie Kirk was authentic throughout his entire life, and it was taken away from him at a very young age.
And you know what?
Yep.
And it's not only Charlie Kirk, believe me. It's not only people on the right. I'm talking about people on the left as well.
Right.
When you're a Democrat, if you're a liberal political commentator, and you're saying that Trump is Hitler, and you're saying that all of these, and they're making mountains out of molehills when somebody doesn't agree with certain LGBTQ positions and all that sort of thing, I think you're just beating the company line. Now, I hope you guys can appreciate the fact that I'm using left-leaning examples here.
Yeah.
But I don't think that I think they're about as genuine as $3 bills. I really believe that. Every single opinion on these political shows, it's always on the same aisle. It's always positions and beliefs on the same aisle. Let me know when Brian Tyler Cohen supports Trump and actually goes off and talks about it. Let me know when Brian Tyler Cohen supports Trump's position on strengthening that border. I mean, let me know when what else? Hey, even with tariffs, I got to tell you, as a Canadian, for somebody who lost his job potentially because of tariffs, like if I am the American president and say I want to promote steel manufacturing and production within my country, of course he should be doing that. How can one of the most powerful countries, if not the most powerful country in the world, not get their steel from countries like Canada? I mean, but you're not going to hear that on Brian Tyler Cohen's show. You're not going to hear that on Harry Sisson's show. You're going to hear more so, and of course, I do think that there is some validity to some of Trump's tariffs, but you're not going to hear that. You are going to hear that. Sorry, please go ahead.
Here's something funny about that, because I consume a lot of conservative radio as well. And by the way, Megyn Kelly is an absolute star. I do not agree with you on your thoughts on her. She's very fair, and she calls out both sides on a regular basis. I encourage you to listen to her show more. But you'll see a lot of conservatives who have been critical of the tariff thing. I have listened to a lot of criticism for it. So it just goes to show you that they'll still call out their, Republican president. I've never seen that on the left. Never. I mean, especially during the Joe Biden years. Never. They toe
During
the
the Joe
line.
Biden year.
That's why I'm saying they toe the line. They're all in on it, and it is impossible for them. Even though I think deep down a lot of them believe the common sense stuff that we all know, the elephant in the room. They can't do it. They can't do it. They cannot get off course. And so I just wanted to chime in on that because I've watched criticisms of Donald Trump. I've listened to Megyn Kelly said he cannot just go into Chicago with federal agents and control crime in that city. He can't do it without that structure in place where he's allowed to go in there. DC
But how
was a
many
different
political
situation.
commentators? How many political commentators are supporting that opinion amongst everything else?
The opinion of
Specifically with regards to the
him.
military going into DC, Chicago, and all these other places.
Most people will support that opinion because it's fact. It's the law, right? And so they're going by the law. So you can't do it, right? You'll be in it. You'll face. But my point is that you can listen to certain conservative voices, and they will not be afraid to take shots at Donald Trump when they feel he's wrong. Like Pam Bondi's taken a beating the last few days from everybody in conservative media because of some of the statements she made about putting a stop to free speech. It's almost like she sounded like like a Democrat politician. So that's why I'm telling you, we can't both sides this time around. It really can't. Like there's too much crazy on the left now and not enough common sense. And we've been seeing it for, good 5-6 years at least, probably longer.
I think my response to that is we're seeing a lot of crazy versus we're seeing a lot less accountability from the right. And how many jokes were made about Paul Pelosi getting attacked in his own home with a hammer? How many times are we going to hear about the 2020 election being rigged and all of these court proceedings taking place? Donald Trump making fun of the person with, I think it was polio, and he was, mocking his movements. I think that was before or during his first Trump presidency.
I mean, that was debunked. I'm pretty sure that was debunked too.
Yeah, it was debunked by him. I mean, because what else is he going to say? Like everything else. I mean, but
okay.
With all of the comments of Mexico paying for the wall, Canada being the 51st state, invading Greenland, and you got all of these comments, and accountability and so on. Hey, take a look at January 6th. I mean, how many? That was a madhouse, and the one specific item I had with Megyn Kelly was specific to January 6th. She was talking specifically with Bill Maher, ironically enough, on his show, and she was giving the whole thing about January 6th. The cops were letting those people in. Give me a break, okay? I'm sorry, and we don't need to go down that rabbit hole, but
yeah, that's another show completely. We don't have enough time for that.
No,
Yeah,
but
there's a lot of things that could be debated about that as well. And the one
for
person
sure,
who died there
for sure,
right,
was a Trump supporter,
right, and the cop as well. So, and I think there were a couple of others also, but I think the reality is that there are so many layers. Don't know where it starts, where you're going to start with it, but I'm very, very thankful that I'm 46 years of age because I don't know what my life would be like if I was a teenager. Maddie, I don't know if you have any other final thoughts to this.
I honestly to put a bow on this on my perspective. I guess I can really just say I think if you have a certain thing on your mind, if you're not feeling 100% confident in what you're hearing, talk to somebody. because there's always people around you, whether it be friends or family, that can put you in a good mental space. Sometimes it's not even about political beliefs. Sometimes it's just like mental state of mind. And who better to put you in a mentally good place to prevent yourself from doing stuff like this than your family and friends? And I think that we need to utilize the people around us more so than ever, even if political beliefs aren't the same.
Yeah. No, I think there's a lot of value to that. And, pretty sure I said it to you guys as well. Like my father having brothers on different sides of the aisle and growing up with that, just the discussions, the debates, the arguing, and they always leave it at that table, and they never take it beyond those four walls, and have never gotten into big war of words or big distancing from each other just because of a different opinion.
Right.
That's why I love you guys. But hey, maybe next time. Maybe next time we'll talk more about sports, okay?
Yeah.
Sure.
Or whatever. Maybe if something else interesting comes about, we'll talk about it, because we talk about it like adults.
Yeah.
Guys, thank you so much as always. Really appreciate you for joining me.
Thank you so much.
Pleasure. Thank you, Rand.
For Tony Antoniou and Matt Siriani, I'm Randy Kure. This is Voice of the Fans Canada. Hope you're doing well and keeping safe. We will talk to you next time.